I'm ready anytime you are. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we are with Lou Brock, one of the best base-stealing threats of all time in baseball. Lou, Johnny Bench is one of the greatest catchers of all time, and there must have been some awesome encounters between the two of you.
In fact, it was. And of course, when Johnny came into the league a few years ago, in fact, around 1967, there was a lot of talk about his strong throwing arms, his throwing arm, I should say. And of course, at that point in time, I was just learning, so there was a great deal, a great deal of confrontation between us.
Looking back on it all, who do you think came out ahead, Mr. Brock or Mr. Bench?
Well, of course, as a base stealer, to be successful, you could steal 2 out of 3. I guess against Johnny, I was something like 7 out of 10, which is not that good, because the true base stealer wants to do 4 out of 5 or 8 out of 10. So Johnny was able to cut that one down, which means that the percentage of stealing is 70%. 70% is not a good percentage when you're going to steal base in tight situation.
Was there any certain thing that you looked for, leading off first base, anything that would give it away as to, what time to take off?
Oh, sure. I think going back to Johnny for a second before I answer that question is that the Cincinnati Reds, the pitching staff had a philosophy during those days. They wanted a runner to run, and they wouldn't throw over. So the ideal way of defeating Johnny and the Cincinnati Reds was to cheat off the base. And we used to talk about that, and he used to bow his head and say, yeah, you're right. And that was one of the reasons you could get 70%. And the fact is that had you used the normal lead against the Johnny Bench, I doubt one would have been even 2 out of 3. And 2 out of 3 is supposed to be just average for a base runner. But Johnny would have probably cut it down to 50-50.
He was that good.
Well, he had a quick release and a strong arm and an accurate arm. So the fact is that most catchers can throw the second base with a good strong throw. But if the throw is on the shortstop side of second base by 3 feet, the runner run equivalent to 87 feet. So Johnny was always true to the mark, which is an ankle-high throw, which we call a perfect throw, that you can't slide around a bit underneath.
There.
Yeah, so it was always there.
It's like getting around a brick wall.
Well, the fact is that you knew it was a letter perfect, so you also had to try to be perfect on your takeoff. Everything has to be working for you. In a sense, you had to be fine-tuned when you go against Cincinnati.
Everything had to be down to the timing. Well, Lou, would you like to say a farewell to John?
Well, today we are. In fact, I'm going to do it right here at the ballpark, and we're going to make the presentation to Johnny. And it's be a farewell. I kid him a great deal about the fact that, yes, we do hate to see him go, but I'm sure there's quite a few pitchers love to see him go. But again, when you look at the history of baseball and you talk about the nearly 16,000 men that played the game, we all somehow want to leave our mark upon the game. And Johnny, I can say in his farewell, not only left his mark, but he carved his entire name into the cornerstone of baseball. And I think that's one of the greatest achievement that can happen to anybody who have played a sport and have been in a profession that he really loved.
Yeah, I think that cornerstone, his name on that cornerstone is right underneath Lou Brock. Lou, thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.